Oh man. Here we go again, everybody. Welcome back to Mohawk Motors. My name is Jason, and we're still out here working on the Dream Workshop. I'm working at night, working in the evenings, the weekends, whenever I can to try to keep this project moving along. Let's see, it's Tuesday now. Yesterday I gave myself the day off because I got a lot done on Sunday. And I was tired, and I had a long day with the kids, so I gave myself the night off yesterday. Today, I'm getting back after it, and my goal tonight, I think, is going to be finish getting the gravel and dirt and horse poo and whatever else dug out of this section inside the workshop. I've done pretty much all the digging with the tractor that I can. So you can see I've got it piled up against the walls and things because it'll only scoop so much without something to push against. And I don't want to push hard against the walls and mess up the steel or anything like that. So I'm going to be doing a bunch of shoveling and raking tonight from the looks of things, which is fine. I don't mind some exercise. But I want to try to get this portion done, which means getting enough out of here that they can lay a 2-inch gravel base and then pour my concrete on top. So there's not a lot of excitement in watching a guy shovel and rake gravel and dirt. So I'll probably just bring you back when I have something of interest to show you. Whew. All right, well team, we've been making some progress in here. And if you noticed, I have the hydrant from this side, the frost-proof hydrant out. But I'll say it, I created a bit more work for myself. So the way these frost-proof hydrants work, and here I have the new one, I'll show you. So you've got your handle at the top. There's a long bar that extends all the way down through your feed pipe. And the actual valve is down here. So, I'm not sure if you can see in there. You can see the little rubber stopper in the valve. And here there's a bleed hole. So when you open the hydrant, it blocks this hole and opens the bottom, which allows water to come up out of the hydrant at the top. When you close it, it then blocks the inlet and opens this bleeder hole to let the water run back down out of the bottom of it. And I've worked on these in the past, and typically you use like the black underground pipe to run to these, and then every time I've ever worked on them in the past, you use brass fittings. So a brass nipple into the black nylon pipe, and then whatever fitting, like for instance, a street elbow, a 90, to connect from the horizontal line to the vertical hydrant. So, based on that experience, I dug down all the way down to where the base of the hydrant was. You can see down there I've got some water, and you probably can't tell it, but right down in there is the very outlet of the pipe. You can just see the worm clamp that was holding it together. So I thought, okay, this thing's obviously been down there for a long time, probably since this building was put up, which I'm assuming was a long time ago. And it looks like they used iron fittings, which may or may not come apart. And I think, so I decided to just try, let's just see if this thing will twist off. So I twisted it, and lo and behold, they used a plastic nipple to go into the black nylon pipe tubing, and then into an iron 90. To point it upward. And when you know it, the plastic nipple snapped. It did not take much torque. to snap that plastic nipple off. So, a little bit of a setback. Now, fortunately, I do have enough room. It's going to be very not fun, but I can dig down. I can make this hole large enough that I can get access to the end of the pipe. I can go get new fittings, new brass fittings, a brass nipple. I'll probably try to get stainless steel 90s and T's, and then I'll be able to do all this with stuff that isn't going to corrode, and hopefully never have to worry about it again. But I mean, it's a bummer. This is going to take me longer than I had anticipated now, but in a way I'm glad I did it, because that iron 90 was a ticking time bomb anyway. So I'd rather address it now and I'll know I'll never need to worry about it again than you know, in a couple years from now, when I only have 2 little access holes to dig down through the concrete and get that iron elbow replaced. So yee, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes stuff doesn't go to plan and you end up doing a little bit more work than you had anticipated. But just keep moving forward. All right, so it's 9:30 and I'm calling it for the night. I did manage to dig down and expose. So there's my water line coming from the house. There's a shutoff valve in the basement, which I shut off before I got started on all this. So there's my line. This wire here is it's a communication wire. They had a phone hooked up down here. I'm not going to need a phone line for anything, so got rid of that. And then I also discovered the ground rod for the power panel. So good to know that that's there. But I don't have the parts I need to get this hooked back up tonight. I'll most likely and hopefully be able to get to Lowe's or Home Depot tomorrow, find the plumbing pieces I need. I'm gonna replace this hydrant. It's old. The bottom part of it is really rusted and corroded. So I'm just gonna buy another hydrant. I'll replace both hydrants, all new brass fittings, and hopefully then, like I said, never have to worry about it again. So I think that's it for tonight's update, team. I'll bring you back whenever I get down here again. Maybe tomorrow night, maybe the next night, I don't know. All right, it's the next day, everybody. I was able to go today, took the kids with me and got all the plumbing fittings I need to be able to get this thing repaired. So first thing I need to do is get down in the hole and try to get the old hose clamps and the what's left of the nipple out of the pipe, and then get this new piece installed, which I'm going to install my hose bibs, my frost-proof hydrants on it first, and then I'll get it installed into the pipe. And basically the way this works here, this nipple will go into the black plastic pipe tube that comes from the house. That's our supply. This first nipple here will go to the frost-proof hydrant on the far side of the wall. This will come under, and then this nipple will connect to the frost-proof hydrant on this side of the wall. I can't remember if I explained to you why I'm doing double frost-proof hydrants, especially on this side, because this side is going to be heated. But it occurred to me that there may come a time that I'm going to be gone for some period of time and shut the heat down out here, or the furnace may run out of oil without me knowing, or something like that. So although it won't save everything from freezing if I just leave for a month, it will make it possible for me to winterize the water system out here and make sure that I don't need to be running the heat to prevent things from freezing. So That's my primary thought process, is just if at some point it's not going to be heated out here, I can plan ahead, drain the water heater, drain whatever other plumbing I have out here, shut off the frost-proof hydrant, and then I won't have to worry about all that stuff freezing if I'm going to be gone and the heat's going to be off. So I'm going to get down there and see what I can do to try to get the old stuff off and start getting the new stuff in. All right, team. Well, it's 10 o'clock now, and well, I got everything in, and the reason we're all the way at 10 o'clock now is because it fought me. But the connection of the flexible line that runs from the house to all my brass, my plumbing down here, that connection did not want to cooperate. It took me a couple tries to finally get it connected up, sealed up, and not leaking anymore. That's why you see moisture down there. But it's been a little over a half hour now under pressure, and there's no drips, there's no wet, there's no nothing. So I finally got that sealed up enough that I'm satisfied. I've got my hydrants supported with some bricks you can see down there in the hole. So I'm going to fill the bottom part of the hole with gravel. I've got some clean gravel outside. I'm going to fill that, and then I'll throw just some of the digging from around here in the workshop to fill it back up to where it needs to be on grade. I am going to, if you see on this side, they framed out like a little square for the hydrant where they didn't pour concrete right up to it. And I believe I'm going to do the same on this side, especially considering this is going to be under a workbench here. And then I'm going to have my slop sink kind of right about here. So it's okay if it's not concreted over on top. And I'd like to be confident enough to say that I'll never have another problem with this thing and it'll be good to go forever. But you know, I'd much rather just leave that little square so I can access it if need be than be jackhammering up concrete in the future if something goes wrong. So I'm gonna get that filled in, and then I'm gonna call it a night because it's late and it's cold tonight, and I want to get this done. All right, everybody, I'm ready to call it for the night. I've got it filled back in, and we have water on this side. We have water on this side. Beautiful. Oh, so pumped. So glad that's over with. That was it wound up being more of a project than I thought it was going to be, but now it's done. I don't have to do it again. And that brings me one step closer. I think this remaining gravel and dirt in here, I'll move some of it to my low spots here, but I think that's going to put me pretty darn close to ready for concrete in here. And then all I got to do is go get all the gravel dug out of the outdoor storage space, and it'll be ready for concrete too. We're making progress. We're getting closer now. Woohoo! All right, everybody. Well, it's now Friday morning. I didn't get anything done yesterday. That's not true. I did go to the store and pick up some supplies that I needed for this project yesterday. But I didn't do anything else yesterday. This morning I came out and it's starting to drizzle. I wanted to get some tractor work done. So I've got my parking area finally to the dimension I want, and the top part flat enough for my purposes. That tractor works really nicely. I'm not an expert level operator, so this, for my purposes, this is plenty flat. I'll be able to park the trailers here once I get geotextile fabric and then gravel on top of it. I'm gonna have to come back with a hand rake and just get the sides pitched and graded out how I want so I can plant grass on those and keep them where they need to be. But this portion, the dirt work is done. I feel good about that. I'm excited to be able to get these trailers out of the front yard and over here where they're not in the way, and I just think it's a better spot for them. So I'm excited to have that making progress, and I don't need to buy any more dirt, which makes me feel good. Inside, I think I left off that I had gotten the hydrants hooked up, no leaks, backfilled, working, good to go. So the first thing I need to work on today is I need a drain. Now, the only running water I plan to have out here is a sink. I just want a slop sink so I can wash my hands and wash parts sometimes. And that should really, it'll have soap and whatever comes off of my hands going in it. So I'm gonna run a drain, and I'll have my drain main line here very close to my my hydrant. And then I'm just gonna run the drain straight out here under the wall, under the exterior wall. Come out right under here, straight out. And then I'll just let it, you know, just let it come out here, out into the grass. Again, all that's coming out of that sink is water and whatever comes off of my hands and a little bit of soap. So I don't feel like it's necessary to try to get it tied into a whole septic system or anything like that. So I've got some pipe. I got to do a little bit more digging to get ready for it. And then I'll just bring you back when I've made some progress. All right, everybody. Well, drain is in. I gave myself, that'll be where I plan on having the sink right about here. So that'll be easy to get the sink dropped into after the concrete is poured. And then runs along here. I left myself a clean out that'll be just higher above the level of the concrete. I suppose I could also decide to use that as my drain if I wanted to move the sink to the corner for whatever reason. Then it runs outside, across, well, under the covered portion at the back, and then just dumps out onto the hill into the grass. So should work great. Like I said, all it is a sink for washing hands. So shouldn't need any more than that. Should be just fine for what I'm doing. And if for some reason I were to have a problem at some point, it wouldn't be difficult to just get a snake in there and get it cleared out. So now all I need to finish up in here is just get all of this gravel graded out to the right level so the concrete guys can come and they can compact it, do whatever little bit of leveling gravel they need to do. They have a laser to check this stuff. I'm just using a string line, so they'll probably be a bit more accurate than I am. And then it'll be time for concrete. I'm pretty pumped about it. Whew. All right, everybody. Well, that's hard work, but that's done. This portion, it's ready for them to come in, compact, put a 1-inch layer of gravel, rebar, and then pour concrete. I got it basically where it needs to be using just a string and a grade board. So I strung across from that slab to this slab, and then I just used a board with a mark on it to touch the board to the ground right next to the string. If my mark lines up, good. If the mark's above the line, I need to go deeper. If my mark's below the line, I'm a little too deep. It's not too high is no good. I had to dig it all down to make sure I at least was level with the mark. Too low is okay because they're going to spread gravel in here, a base of gravel, and compact before they actually do the concrete so they can make up for any low spots when they do that gravel. But this portion's done with my part. Now we just need concrete. All right, everybody. Quick update this time because, you know, You got to do the little stuff you can't see in order to do the big stuff you can see. So this downspout, which collects water for 2/3 of the front of the building, comes down, and then it came down into the ground here, and it ended right about here. Now, I need to move the water away from this building. I don't want to have a swamp right here in front of my new parking area. So I've spent the last hour digging a trench from the downspout all the way across, all the way over, and out. Unfortunately, I was able to get the old pipe out without damaging it. So I had some left over from something I did at our old house, I can't remember what, that I was able to feed into it to make it an extension. So now it's long enough. So it comes from there all the way out to over here, and it'll dump off into the grass, and hopefully will not have a huge swamp here in my parking pad. All of that is done, so now I can actually spread my geotextile fabric, get it spread out here, and then start scooping up this gravel and spreading it on the geotextile fabric. So it's the unbeautiful jobs that sometimes you'll probably never see again, but you got to do them to make sure everything's right. I'll bring you guys back soon. All right, I'm about to head in for dinner. Thought I'd do one more quick update before I do. I've got the geotextile fabric laid out on this section. I got some gravel from under there spread out at the far end just to help keep it in place until I'll probably get a load of gravel delivered this week, hopefully Monday or Tuesday, and get it all graveled out, covered up, looking good. And started moving things out of here. So I still got to get the stuff along this wall out of my way and do a quick look over, and then I'll dig the rest of this gravel out and spread it out there also, just to kind of make sure the geotextile fabric doesn't go anywhere, and you know, it'll save me a couple bucks in gravel, which certainly doesn't hurt. So if I get back out here after dinner, I'll show you whatever it is that I get done, and if not, then I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, time for an update. So it's Sunday now. I did come out and get stuff done yesterday. I didn't really record any of it and show it to you because it's boring stuff that I've already been doing. So I did get this downspout repaired and a drain run out for it. There's also, if you see the downspout up there on the corner, it runs inside, down, and then I ran a new drain for it. The one up here in the corner, it had a drain, but I can't for the life of me find where that comes out of the ground. I'm not sure if it does come out of the ground anywhere. So I ran that new one just to make sure I have good drainage. Again, I don't want this parking area and stuff to become a puddle. And then this downspout, it just dumped right here onto the ground. Well, before there was nothing here, so that didn't hurt. But again, now I want this to be a flat parking area. I don't want it to become a mud puddle, so I need to get that water away. So I did both of those, and I made a trip to Lowe's and got a whole bunch of supplies, and that's what I'm getting started working on now. So there were some tables built in along the wall. I got rid of those. I don't need those. They're also super rickety. I wouldn't trust them for more than just like holding a cup. So I've got clear wall on this wall. I've got clear wall all the way along this wall. And what I want to get started on today is getting the wall sheathed with plywood and insulated. I looked into the price of spray foam, which was my first choice. I really would have liked to get this place spray foamed, but to do spray foam was going to cost roughly double what it'll cost me to do with fiberglass batt insulation. And for the amount of time it's going to take me over doing the wall paneling with the plywood, it just wasn't worth the cost to me, guys. I'd rather spend that money on projects, vehicle projects, or lifts or whatever else for in here than on the fanciest insulation. This is a workshop. I'm going to be heating it with used oil, so I'm not super worried about it being the best insulated, most airtight building on earth. So fiberglass batt insulation and plywood sheathing is going up on these walls. Now I do need to do a couple things before I do that. All of my outlets, you can see they're recessed behind the surface of the 6x6 support posts. So I'm going to unsecure these from the 2x4s and move them up and out so they'll be flush mounted with the plywood. I'm using 1/2-inch plywood to sheet it. So just by coming up, that'll give me the slack I need to move outward, and then I'll refasten to the 6x6. I'll do that with my outlets. I have my main power switch down there for the furnace. So I'll get that done, and then if you see my orange string line here on the floor, I'm going to be starting from the bottom and working my way up. I want to have nice, flat, level plywood seams the whole way around the building, and I can tell just walking on it, the floor is not level. So I ran my string here to make sure, actually to just identify if I had any high spots along this wall. This is going to be my starting point, and from what I can see and what I can tell, there are no high spots above where I've run my string. So I'm going to use that as the bottom for my plywood board, and then I'll just start sheeting around. Fiberglass insulation in, sheeting up, and then just make my way around. I'll do one layer at a time. All right, everybody, well, made some progress. It's only the beginning, but I got 4 panels up. I'm pretty happy about it, especially, it's tricky doing this by myself. It took me a little trial and error to figure out how to make this work. And also at this stage, I'm working in a tight space. But basically, here, if you can see up in the top, you can see my insulation in there. So I was able to basically tack the insulation to that horizontal board all the way around, and then put up the bottom board, put up the upper board. I did decide to do, I have 1/2-inch plywood and then 1/2-inch, OSB here. Biggest reason I did that is these bottom shelves are most likely to get something banged into them. A jack or a car door, or something falls over and hits them. And that plywood is just a bit stronger than the OSB. So if something bumps up against it, hopefully it'll just be a dent or a ding and not a hole punched through it like tends to happen with OSB. And I won't have to replace boards as often. All of it's gonna get painted when I'm done, so I'm not worried about it. You know, it's not exactly the same, because once it gets painted, you'll never know the difference. I got my switch remounted for the furnace power, cut on, cut off. I've got my pigtail here. So I think once I make a little bit more progress down this wall, I'll work on getting the furnace installed, hopefully before it gets super, super cold out. I've never done a flue on one of these before, so that'll be something I learn, but the furnace came with everything that I need, supposedly, so I'll be able to do that. I'm out of time for now. We have a family photo shoot, so I'm gonna go get ready for that, and then depending on when we get back this afternoon, I may have some time to come out and do a little bit more. So. Well, everybody, I in fact did not make it back out after we got back from our photo shoot. So that's it for this video. That's it for this week's updates on the workshop. Still got to get the 2 upper boards over here done, and then the next row, the next row, the next row, and I'll just keep chipping away at it. Hopefully concrete will be sometime this coming week. but I'm not sure. I'm waiting to hear back from the concrete guy on what his schedule is like. So that's it for this one. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you're enjoying seeing the progress in this workshop. I really am enjoying the progress in this workshop, and doing stuff that I can actually see a visible change helps to break up the stuff that you don't see, like the drains for the gutters and downspouts and all of that stuff. So until next video, everybody, take care.